Welcome to Backstage. Normally we have rock stars on, dancers, artists, and we're always singing the praises of the great talent in our own backyard. Well, today it's a different twist on things. He's a rock star chef, many great accomplishments, and he is actually returning back home to Winnipeg. Welcome to Michael Allemeier.
Thank you very much. It's fantastic to be here. And honestly, a build-up like that, I mean,
I know,
oh my goodness, I'm blushing here a little bit.
So much last night, and well, okay. Anyways, chef and now instructor at SAIT.
Absolutely, Southern Alberta Institute of Technology. And you know, a career is a wonderful thing because I started at Red River College. When I was an apprentice, I did my apprenticeship here at the former Delta Winnipeg on Portage Avenue. I spent time at the St. Charles Country Club. I spent time at Amici with Chef Gettenfeld. And you know what? It was fantastic. I left Winnipeg in 1990, I want to say. Right? So I started my apprenticeship in '85, and it's great to know that Winnipeg was the beginning, right? This was the roots of my culinary career, and now to be back here and, you know, doing all this great cooking, and it's been very nostalgic for me to return to Winnipeg, and my new role as a culinary instructor now is fantastic because I had great teachers when I was at Red River as well, so it's kind of really great to give back, right?
Okay, so we're gonna go talk about when you turn 25 and the magic of that number. But right now, okay, dad, career, you know, and then all those other things that we have too as well. It's the activities, and now this brings us to why you're here and a special challenge that was
Absolutely.
put to you.
So the Dairy Farmers of Canada, along with the Dairy Farmers of Manitoba, those two organizations issued a challenge, all right? There's three of us the challenge was issued to. We've got Nicole in Toronto, we've got Lindsay in Halifax, and myself based out of Calgary. Now, the challenge was to come up with two really tasty dishes using cream. And the trick was we could only use everyday, simple, common ingredients. So I couldn't put on my chef hat and get all fancy and, you know, pull out all the exotic stuff.
No.
But that's something I can really relate to because, you know, in addition to being, you know, a professional chef and an instructor and all of that, I'm a dad as well, and you know what it's like. After school, you get home, you've got like 20 minutes, you know, to get dinner on the ready before you've got soccer, or you've got gymnastics, or you've got swim club, or so on and so forth. The list goes on and on. So this challenge really spoke to me because the reality is, yes, I'm a chef, but I've also got 20 minutes as well to get dinner on the table. So the two recipes I created really spoke to that and really resonated with me as well, right? And the recipes I created, I tested on my toughest critics as well. My two boys, Lachlan, who's 8, and Colin, who's 13. And it's the curse of a chef, right? You think like my children would like savor food and there would be like highly sophisticated palates, right? Well, Colin, my oldest, I love the boy to death, but he is the pickiest eater. Great news is, my two recipes that I developed, he adores. So the whole challenge is called the Pantry Challenge. And so what I did is I started with my pantry, and I figured out what are my 5 favorite ingredients to use at home, right? So for us it was lots of fruit and vegetables, of course, right? Cheese, Canadian cheese, I mean, it's so versatile, right? Pasta is a big one. You'll always find a real cream in my fridge as well, right? It's just, you know, a little bit goes a long way. And fresh herbs. I have a herb garden at home, and there's just something about being able to introduce herbs, just kind of, you know, perks things up very quickly, very easily, without a lot of effort as well.
Oh, well, this all comes with years and years of practice and expertise. But I'm going to take you back to when you turned 25, because that, in effect, is really, I guess, a very pivotal moment in your life.
Huge, you know, I look back on my career and I've had like dozens and dozens of memorable experiences that, you know, most chefs would be happy with just one. And you're right, 25 was a massive year for me. I had been living in Vancouver for a couple of years. I had just taken over the kitchens of Bishop's restaurants, and for anyone who's been to Vancouver, you know, like Bishop's is a legend, right? And John Bishop, one of my greatest mentors, somehow, I don't know if he had a moment of insanity, but he somehow, you know, at the age of 25, gave me the keys to the kitchen, and all of a sudden I was his executive chef. The best kitchen in Vancouver, right? And wow, so, you know, that was a pretty big moment. But then several weeks after that, he came to me and said, "Chef, we've got a little dinner. We've got a few people. It's a fairly high-profile dinner that we have to do." And he wouldn't tell me anything for a couple of days, right? It was just like high-profile dinner, you know, it's just like all of a sudden I'm going for a security check, all this other stuff's going on. Turns out that we were doing the dinner for the summit dinner between Yeltsin and Clinton. Right? So, I mean, two of the, the strongest presidents in the world, all of a sudden we're cooking for that. And then I got married in between that as well. Right? So, I've got a very, very forgiving wife who, tolerates all these wonderful activities as well. But honestly, she's my anchor as well. And then after all of that was done, we had the Canadian Commission for High Trade in London, England, come to us and said, how do you guys feel about going to London for 2 weeks and representing Canada for a little promotion called A Taste of Canada? So next thing you know, we're like shipping up part of the restaurant. We're taking art. We took the florist. We took all our best recipes. We took plates even. And they wanted us to recreate the restaurant in London. Right down to the architecture, to the art, the flowers, the food, everything. So now all of a sudden I'm running around London trying to find all these Pacific Northwest ingredients and everything else like that. It was fantastic. So you know what? Age 25 is a really big year for me, and one that really stands out. And it's, whenever you see that little smile on my face, it's a bit of pride, but it's also like, whew, I survived it.
Yeah, and live to talk about it. Well, I guess now we're going to step you into where you feel best and most comfortable, in the kitchen.
Absolutely, I can't wait.
And you're going to try and make a vegetable, which I think it is still a vegetable, right? A cucumber?
Of course it is, absolutely.
Cucumber is just supposed to be in a salad, raw. And I love cucumber, but you're going to do something a little different with it.
Well, the first recipe I did for the Pantry Challenge is a soup. It's a soup, I think, that reflects this time of year perfectly, especially in Winnipeg. I've forgotten how humid and crazy hot the summers can be here, right? It's a cool, refreshing, no-cook soup, all right? So picture a chilled soup with cucumber, green apple, and a bit of garden mint. Now, what makes this soup so unique is its base is made with yogurt, and we finish it with just a touch of real cream, just to really make it just like deliciously smooth and absolutely irresistible. And you know what I love about this recipe is, literally, as soon as you've got everything prepared, you throw everything in a blender, and off you go. And it is so cool, so refreshing. And you know what? I'm gonna get you to make it.
All right, it's any day magic in the kitchen with Michael.
All right, Tracy, I'm going to show you, or actually, you are going to show me how quick and easy this chilled soup is. All right, so here's our ingredients. You can see, so honestly, the work on this recipe is just preparing the ingredients, because as I said, it is a no-cook recipe. We're basically just going to puree everything together. So what we've got over here, so this is cucumber.
I know, it's cut so nice.
Similar, but a little different. So what we've done is we've peeled it, right, to remove that tougher outer skin, right, and we've removed the seeds as well, because if you've ever eaten a lot of cucumber seeds, it's maybe not the best thing in the world, right? So what we've got is what I like to call just the meat of cucumber, right? And then look over here, we have beautiful Granny Smith apples. Same thing, we've peeled them and removed the core, right? Because, we would just want all the goodness here, all right? And then one of my favorite culinary ingredients, and one that's highly underrated, fresh mint. Right? Now, when people think of mints, they automatically think of dessert, right?
Yes.
But you know what? Mint is one of these herbs that has a wonderful savory application. And there's something just magical, especially when you mix dairy and mint together. The two really heighten each other. And it's just a little chef's trick there for you to remember, all right? Tuck that little nugget away. And then here's the base of the soup. So what we've got here is yogurt. Yogurt is wonderful because it's cool and it's refreshing and it's got this like wonderful texture. This will be the body of the soup, all right? And then for flavor, a little bit of ginger. Who doesn't love ginger, right? So good for the immune system. And like the mint, it's just got that element of refreshment that's really, really going to add a lot to it. And a little bit of fresh lemon juice, of course, because lemon juice just heightens everything, right? It's just that balance ultimately, and a bit of salt, of course. And for me, the real gem is a little bit of real cream. Now you can see there's not a lot here.
No.
And that's the beautiful thing about using real cream, is that you don't need a lot, right? It's one of these things where, a little bit really, really goes a long, long way. And you know what? This is going to add so much to the actual soup. And this is what we're going to prepare it in, a blender. Just a standard household blender. Now, if you don't have a blender, don't panic.
Okay.
If you've got one of those handheld blenders, that works really well.
I like those.
And you know what? Worst case scenario, a food processor works really well as well. So there's definitely lots of options. And if if you've even got something like really old school, like a food mill, one of those old hand cranks, you know what? That'll work as well. So definitely options, right? So what I'm going to get you to do is put all of this into here.
Any particular order?
You know what? Let's put the yogurt in first.
Okay.
I find by putting the yogurt in first, it just kind of, there's a bit of traction. So when the blades start working, right, it just draws everything into it, right? But the beautiful thing is both the cucumber and the apple, it's just so much wonderful moisture in there,
right,
that it draws everything in. And now just maybe put the apples in next. Isn't that delicious?
Sorry.
Yeah.
This is how I cook it. And you don't, and then they're just chunks, right? You don't
See?
have to.
Huh? You're cooking.
Cool.
Huh?
Oh, that's
How
scary.
great is this?
That's really scary.
I know,
What's
I know.
next?
And you know what?
Anything?
You're doing a great job. You know what? Your shot. Whatever you want. What do you think? How about the mint?
You're
There
the
you
boss
go.
here.
You know, honestly, there's no particular sequence. My little tip
garlic.
or little trick
Or ginger.
is definitely put the yogurt in first, because
Okay.
that really just helps with the whole process.
would
And
make
then
sense.
a little bit of the lemon juice, right? And then we're going to put in the cucumbers next. What do you think? Let's
Okay.
get those in. And to peel a cucumber is really easy. Just peel it like a carrot. Just use a vegetable slicer. Cut it in half lengthwise, and then you just use a teaspoon and you literally just scrape or push the
Really?
seeds out, and it creates like a little channel, right?
Oh,
A
cool.
little bit of salt, right? Just a little
yep.
bit goes a long way because
The whole thing?
yeah, absolutely. Salt is just for flavor, and then of course one of my secret ingredients, one of my secret weapons. All right, a huge punch of flavor and texture, a little bit of real cream. Look at that. That is fantastic. You know what? You've done this before. Did you cheat? Have you been practicing?
No, don't ask me to use this.
That's fantastic. All right,
Okay.
so just a little bit of blender etiquette. All right, something I always like to do before I turn it on is just check everything's set on a low speed. Because if it's set on high, depending on your blender, you could end up redecorating your kitchen.
Oh, yes.
All right, so that's a
Done
good
that.
trick whenever using a blender. Start low and then just slowly increase the speed as you
Okay.
go, right? So we're just going to turn it on, and we're just going to increase the speed. Look at that. You can see everything's coming together really nicely.
Yeah.
Mega speed just to finish it off.
His eyes just got wider. You like this,
I
don't
know,
you?
well, boys and their toys, right?
I know.
It's gear. And you know, everyone loves gear, right? Who doesn't like playing with gear? Now, look at this. I'm going to pour a little bit here for you, all right?
Okay.
So what I love about this, look at the texture. See how smooth that is? Now wait till you try this. And then what I like to do is just, you know, a little bit of green onion on there. That's optional if you want. Something I love is chive blossoms. If you've got chives growing in the garden,
Yes.
just pick some of those beautiful blossoms, right? And
don't
it's
use
a great
bangles
way
in
to
the
finish
kitchen.
it off.
I wasn't prepared to be in the kitchen.
I know.
It's supposed to be all about you.
Well, you know what? Life should be full of surprises, right? I think that's
Life
very important.
It's like a bowl of cherries. No.
But here, I want you to just smell this. Isn't it refreshing?
It is.
Yeah,
The
I know.
mint and the apple and the cucumber all come
And
together.
you know how wonderful and cool this is? Something I encourage people to do, especially this time of year, is this makes a great lunch. All right? Everyone's got a thermos. Now, whenever you think of a thermos, you always think it's for something hot. But guess what? It's an insulated vessel, which means it cools things really well. So what I recommend you do is fill your thermos with some of this chilled soup, right? Take it to work halfway through the day when the humidity's kind of getting to you, right? Open it up, pour yourself a little bit of this refreshing chilled soup.
Wow.
And I tell you, it's just going to put a step back into your stride, and you're going to just be smiling, and people are going to be wondering, what is going on with that person? They're way too happy. And
Yeah,
it's just all
so
these,
he
all
is,
these,
yeah.
and it's just, just a combination of these great ingredients, right?
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Michael. Chef Michael Allemeier right here in our kitchen. It is a chilled cucumber apple with mint soup. If you want more on the recipe, go to the website anydaymagic.ca. For Backstage, I'm Tracy Koga.